and it looks like a great group. And I'm so excited to hear what our school counselors are going to say today. Just as a reminder, this is our Zoom meeting that we have for our Crawford County Alliance. And actually right now we have over 150 people in the Alliance. And it will always, we won't have 150 on every month because a lot of people come in and out as we have topics for discussion that affect them and that they're curious about. So, and I know the judge is in court right now and adult ed's in court with them, DWI court. So it's hard to hit a time when we don't interfere with your busy work schedules as well. But greetings to all of you. And if you don't mind, right quick, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to go into the chat room and give us a record of who is on the chat today. I see Mayor Baxter's on here. I see Latoya, you made it. I knew you had a conflict. And Robin Finley, I'm so glad to see you on here. She's a lifelong counselor as well, and I hope she'll be able to contribute as we go along. I see Garrett Houck on here, and lots of community people that are, I just see that everybody on here has a heart for families and kids and for making Crawford County is the best it can be. So go into the chat room and tell us who you are and give us some contact information if you feel like that's needed today. I see Megan Reese, another counselor that's on from Alma. Belinda McSpadden, lifelong counselor, is on. Brandy Brogan, Becky Dean. A lot of these are going to be on our panel today, and we'll be discussing issues that affect our kids and families in Crawford County. So 100, I'll just kind of give you a little background as you're getting in the chat room, but 100 families, if you need a refresher, it was born from the governor's Restore Hope initiative, where he wanted to see private entities, churches, nonprofits join with state agencies to try to fix some barriers that we were seeing people that were incarcerated or foster care, those that are dependent on drugs, alcohol, a lot of demographic that are disenfranchised from help. And he wanted to see the communities come together and put together organizations that we call 100 Families Alliance, and working within the community to come up with solutions. Our solutions in Crawford County are different from Sebastian or White or Pulaski, where we have our other three groups. So we learn from them, they learn from us, but we got the best group over here. So I hope there's nobody from Sebastian on here. But I have to think that. I have to think that because I'm your coordinator in Crawford County. So I think we've got everybody signed in the chat room. And because the counselors are on a school schedule that probably goes 10 to 11, and I'm not sure, probably each one of our counselors has a different schedule. So we're going to honor their time and go right to our panel. Oh, what we wanted to see today was we wanted to hear from the counselors and hear how COVID had really affected kids. And did COVID affect kids that were in poverty or had families in crisis to maybe a higher degree than families that were not in crisis or were not dealing with issues of poverty? And then we wanted to look at trauma just a little bit and how that figures into it. And we'd like to end up with some solutions. I want to hear from them. What do they need in the schools? How can our community of Crawford County come together and help the kids that they deal with in all 5 of our school districts? So Karen is going to highlight our speakers. Do you want me to call them out, Karen, for you to find them? There we go. We've got Amber Hurst, and she works at Van Buren School District. I've got a little bit about some of the counselors to tell you. Her husband is Nathan Hurst. She has 2 kiddos, and she is the counselor at Parkview Elementary School in Van Buren. She loves Jesus, which I know for sure. I think, Amber, did you work with my sister Amanda Morgan?
I did. I worked in the Hot Springs School District with Amanda, my first job.
I thought so. I remember that. She graduated from my alma mater in Washita Baptist, and she got her master's at UCA. So that's Miss Amber. Then I have Brandy Brogan, and I can let me go to Becky because I see her highlighted next. Both of you guys, I'll flip flop. Becky is a counselor at Mountainburg Elementary School, and she works with pre-K through 4th grade students. She's lived in Crawford County all of her life. I've watched her kids grow up and know her family as well. And she has 2 daughters. One's a teacher, one's a nurse. Those are both service jobs. She's been a counselor at Mountainburg. This is her first year, but this is her 3rd year to be a counselor. And she started her education as a special ed para in Alma, and then obtained her bachelor's in music education at UA Fort Smith. And then now I'm not giving everything, but now I know Mountainburg feels very lucky to have you there. And then I have Brandy Brogan on, and watched her grow up, play basketball as well. That's the great thing about Crawford County. We know each other. So Brandy is, there we go, in her 18th year as an educator and starting her 15th year as a school counselor in Alma. And she has a Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Education from U of A Fort Smith, and then her Master's of Education in Counseling and Leadership from Arkansas Tech. She is currently what I would call an innovative position at Alma. And I don't know if any of our other schools have this position, but she is what they call the family liaison. And she works with any family that they know is in crisis in the Alma School District. And I think as we go on, she can tell us what are some of the things that she does for her family. So, all right, have I got Michelle Medina on? Has she been able to join us? And then Jordan Bradley. Karen's going to look for them, and if they are attending to kids, which I told them was a priority, if you have a kid come in with a crisis, then jump on and jump off as you have to. So we'll see if they come in a minute, and we can start talking with them as well. Jordan Bradley is at Cedarville, and then Michelle Medina is at Mountainburg. So we'll get, and we may have different needs in all these different areas. So let's dive into the questions. And first of all, let's talk about COVID. And I'd like to get just your feel about your students that you have dealt with and how has that affected them. I mentioned isolation. Do you see some effects from isolation, their academics, and anything else you have seen? Is there a heightened amount of family dysfunction, and has that led to higher abuse? So I'm just going to take you in a round robin and keep your answers very, very short and concise. And if someone else mentions what you were going to say, then we'll try to skip to another question. So Amber, I'll start with you. You're up in my upper left corner, and just
you piss me off.
What's
Okay,
ready?
are you there?
You ready, Amber? Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready. We did see in the elementary level a lot of isolation, a lot of kids feeling alone, causing some depression. We had actually had a second grade student who was admitted to the hospital for suicidal idealization. So second grade is really young for that. A lot of kids dealing with anxiety because they feel behind. They feel overwhelmed with not being able to see their friends, not being able to do anything. We have lots of families that didn't have the things that they needed. We had one family that dealt with dad losing a job and then dad trying to commit suicide and then that turning into violence in the home. So there have been some big events in the lives of our kids because of COVID, job loss, isolation, and things like that.
So Becky, did you see anything different at Mountainburg that you could add to that? You're muted, I believe.
We didn't have as severe a problem as she did, but the kids are overall glad to be back to school. They're glad to be back with their friends, and I'm just glad they are here. So I agree with what.
Are you doing any virtual still, like one day a week, or?
I try to send stuff out to the virtual students, and the parents I've had a couple parents call me and I've talked to them, but most of all, our virtual kids are there because of a health problem with a family member, but I'm still in contact with them quite a bit.
So, do you think it maybe because Mountainbird's a smaller community, there wasn't as much isolation, or because you have a lot of rural that I would have thought had a lot of isolation?
Well, they
still had sports and they had some things going on.
still had things to do. I mean, and some of them haven't, they didn't know it was a problem. Yeah. I mean, they weren't in school, but you know, that's part of our issues because they didn't do their work. They were just on vacation, you know. So that's been one of the problems we've had is, you know, making up for all the work that was, you know, that's an issue that we have had. So
I can see that.
okay. Yeah.
So Brandy and Alma, tell me if you all had some special issues.
I think it's pretty much the same as what everyone else is experiencing.
Pull up to
kids though that are in poverty. You know, our kids that have all their basic.
You're lagging a little bit, Brandy. I don't know if you might need to refresh your internet or pull closer to the screen.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yes. I think you mentioned internet.
Brandy, one thing you could do is close your video, and that will probably help with your internet lag.
Okay.
Better. Okay. If you'll just give us that summary right quick again.
So is this better?
Yes.
Okay. So I feel like we're experiencing what everyone else is feeling. Our students of poverty, obviously with COVID, they're being quarantined, they're not having their basic needs met. So the food, and we've been able to provide them with hotspots, so at least, and Chromebooks, so at least they've been able to connect with teachers, but I feel like their parents are maybe a little intimidated by the process of trying to help them get on and navigate through Google Classroom and those things. And so they do have a tendency to get behind. I've done a lot of home visits on trying to encourage parents and saying, hey, we just want them to get on there and show them some things that they can do, and offer any resources. We have fantastic teachers and counselors that have gone above and beyond to try to reach out to them through whatever method that they're comfortable using as far as communicating. But if we haven't seen or heard from a child, then I will go out there, or an administrator or a counselor, and try to touch base with the family and see what resources they need. And parents have really overall appreciated that. And it's not that their mindset is not the unwillingness, it's just they're overwhelmed. And I think sometimes we lose sight of maybe they're home with 4 other kids and they've got 4 teachers to respond to and doing 3 comments from each teacher every day. It's a lot for some parents.
Yes.
One issue that we did have that I was surprised, it just happened actually a few weeks ago, but we had a mom say, you know, my 5th grader is quarantined. I'm not comfortable leaving him at home, and I cannot afford to stay home with him, you know. And so we were able to allow the older student to go virtual with him, and that gave some mom some comfort, and she was able to continue working, which I was honestly surprised. That's the first time I'd heard of that happening.
So that's, you know, to me, that's just a sign, and I'm hearing that from all of you, that your school districts have given you some leeway to find some innovations and to find some, you know, think outside the box, because this is something we've never experienced before. So let's look at poverty for a minute, because I know that these are probably tied together. The ones that had the highest probably percent of poverty maybe are the ones that are struggling the most with the academics at home or trying to get on the internet. So just speak to us, and we'll start with Amber again, about poverty issues and what you see as a connection or a disconnect. And then you can go into the broader question of, you know, what are those problems that we need to address? So just poverty in general, Amber.
So for our poverty kids, one of the things that I see is struggling with self-esteem because of they don't have the cool things, or maybe their parents don't help them with whatever it is that they're doing at home. They're embarrassed somewhat. They also are, sometimes they feel more isolated, I think, because they don't have any support at home. You know, other kids will come to school and they'll say, well, my uncle helped me with this, or my mom helped me with that. And they don't even have anybody talking to them, much less helping them. So they're left a lot on their own, our poverty kids in particular. So that's one of the things that I've really noticed is their isolation, their self-esteem, their appearance seems to be something that bothers them, and just them feeling like they're not supported by their home environment.
Becky or Brandy, do you all have something to add to that?
Not really. I would agree. Now, some of ours, I was thinking about some of ours are poorest. They don't have a lot, so they're not missing some of those things. You know, they don't have a tablet. They've been outside playing, you know, so that's not so much an issue with that. But I agree with what Amber said. There's some that, you know, if their parents have lost a job, they are worried about what they wear. They're worried about my 3rd and 4th graders more, you know. Our littles, it doesn't make a big difference with them. But in my 3rd and 4th graders, I've really tried to spend some more time with them, like minute meetings, personally, 1-to-1, just talking with them, you know, just to make sure they're all right, checking in with them.
I like that, minute meetings. Brandy, did you have anything to add to that?
I think, sorry, I joined Robin in here.
Oh, good. Robin can add as well.
Not so much, but I feel like kind of basically the same. I don't notice ours I feel like they feel supported. They just don't know what to do. You know, I haven't really ran into someone, a parent not willing to help. It's just, again, them not feeling comfortable helping them.
Mhm.
And you're talking about when they're trying to do their virtual assignments and those
Yes.
things that had to do with COVID.
Yes. And one thing that our school has done, I know like at the middle school, they have opened up the afternoons for students that need extra help and have COVID concerns to come in after school and get help from some teachers. And Wednesday is our flex day. So it's an optional day for students that they can come to school or do their work online. Because of the lower numbers on campus, those students have been able to receive more one-on-one help from teachers when they do come if they are behind. And that's been really helpful to a lot of our students.
So I see a comment here from Rhonda Jennings, who is our literacy counsel in Crawford County. And she says that we have a problem in Crawford County with literacy, and we have parents that cannot do the math and they cannot read. And I think she quoted 23% of the adults in our county cannot read above 3rd grade. So like you said, the parents might want to help them, but they don't have maybe the academic background to know what to do. So, so we've established that as a problem, maybe the support system at home and the isolation. And some of your school districts have addressed that in innovative ways. The next thing, the effects from childhood trauma, and as we get into issues of foster care, I know probably all of you have some foster students that are in your districts. And then after we just kind of talk about that in general, we want to talk about the fact that we're reporting some issues that we see that need to be reported to the state hotline, but not all of them get taken on as cases. So what do we do with that gap population that we know are struggling and something's wrong, but they're not officially a case yet? So Amber, let's start with you and let's talk about just trauma and, you know, are you getting enough training? Do the teachers have enough training to understand how to deal with kids that are misbehaving, but it's not just discipline, it's from issues at home?
Our teachers are not getting enough training. Our counselors are not getting enough training. To be real honest, they've been so busy with trying to keep up with their academic and the technology and the things like that there just hasn't been time for that training. It is, I think, very needed. I think it was needed before COVID, so I definitely think it's needed now. I think it would be helpful if the 100 Families Initiative could somehow come in and train teachers where it's not a cost to the school district.
Oh.
I know that sometimes the trainings are costly when you're training a large group of people. So I think that would be helpful. The kids who are dealing with those family crises need the school-based therapies. They need someone to come in and talk to them on a regular basis. The kids in foster care receive that if it's requested. So one of the things that I try to do as a school counselor is to make sure if they're coming to us from another school, if they were already receiving those services, I try to contact the former school counselor so that we can continue those. And if not, I try to communicate with the foster parents that this is an option that's available for your kids. They've been through a lot of change, a lot of trauma. Sometimes they just need somebody to talk to, someone that's neutral, somebody they're not going to hurt their feelings by talking to them about whatever it is that's going on in their life. One thing that I have also found is it's really important for us to communicate regularly with the parents, with if they have a family support system with DCFS, that we communicate with that caseworker what we're seeing at school. Like we have one family that I've been working real closely with their caseworker. The mom has no transportation. And so to get kids to doctor's appointments, to get medications refilled, or to get them to a doctor's appointment so they have a PCP so that they can get a referral for those school-based health services. Those are some things that if we're not communicating with the parents on a regular basis and communicating with those foster family support systems or the DCFS caseworkers, those are things that I think are really important to communicate, because there are a lot of things that we learn from the kids or maybe just from the parents that we can call and talk to those parents and say, hey, did you know this is available? How can we help? Because a lot of times parents think that DCFS is there to take their kids, and that's not the case. From what I have understood, they're there to help. And they have some resources that those families need to take advantage of, but they don't know about those resources. So I feel like my job as a school counselor is to know about those programs and to communicate those to parents. So I appreciate our Crawford County DCFS workers. They hear from me a lot sometimes,
Yes.
but I do appreciate them. I know they work really hard.
Yeah. I hope we have some of them on today, and I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the whole list. Oh, there we go. Ashlyn's on. We'll give her a shout out, but it's my experience that, again, I'm just going to say, I love our DCFS, department, Tara Winters, and she was one of my students at one time. And she, I think they are very family, child oriented, and I've loved working with them. So shout out to DCFS. So the transportation thing, the trauma training, we have an opportunity to start a bio parents group that are involved with DCFS, or if they're in a holding, I can't remember the name of it, if they don't really have they haven't had their children taken, but they're in jeopardy of that. And then we can start that group. It's called HELP, and let those bio parents talk to each other. We can bring them resources and maybe get them all in one room. So if you all feel that would be helpful, then that's definitely something we've started one in Sebastian. We started one in White County, I believe, and we can offer that. So, and then us coming in with trauma training, that is something that I've got on my list, and I believe we have people that will do that for free. So I hope I haven't opened my mouth too early, but I think we can broker that.
One thing about the class for parents, I think that it would be very helpful to the parents, but I don't know that they would come if it wasn't explained to them in a way that this is to help you, not because you're in trouble. I think a lot of times they feel like they're in trouble.
And it's not run
just like kids, they don't want to be in trouble.
Yeah. And it is run by bio parents. So it's kind of it's not that it's a closed group, but it is a group that is, going to be sensitive to all those things. So I think we can communicate that. So foster kids, Brandy or Becky, any special needs that you are seeing that we should address?
Not at this time. Most of our kids have moved, our foster families have their kids and they're actually adopting them. So that's the major one that we have right now. And so all their needs are really being met. And I guess I'm on a smaller basis. So our kids are being well taken care of in that foster setting. The ones that I can monitor, they're doing well.
I would agree with that. The foster have not been, I haven't heard of that being a great need here as far as them not having their needs met. But I will speak to kind of what Amber was saying. I know one year at the primary school, our staff did an excellent job of kind of targeting who those parents were that really needed that
access to substance abuse treatment.
Personal information instead of like a blanket, come to school, we'll help you. It was very personalized to, we want your family here, even asking them what kind of pizza. Of course, we provided food, that always helps, but transportation is always an issue as well.
I've got that written down, and transportation in Crawford County it always is at the top of our list. And we actually have 2 different options we're working on. So be encouraged that we see that as a huge need, and we are trying to work on some solutions that will help your families. So
If you feed them, they will come.
yeah, if you have food, I will come. So let me know. Resources that you have for foster kids. Is there a need for more counseling, or how can we connect? Ashlyn's listening, or are there things that are out there but we haven't connected yet? What resources are you needing? Becky,
Hey,
look
the greatest need that I see as far as counseling for either kids that are suffering with the COVID, problems from that, is insurance. Private insurance. If a family has private insurance, it's going to cost them like $60 or so, even up, every time they have a session with a counselor. And so parents have their own job. They're have a job, they're working, they have their own private insurance, their children aren't on Medicaid, they're not on Our Kids First. So where's some support for those parents? Where's some funding to help? Like, I have one in 2nd grade right now. The dad is off work for a little while, and he's still drawing a little bit of a check, but he's not drawing what he was making. So paying for that care for that child, to have that counselor once a week come pull him and visit with him, that's a hardship for them right now. Hardship to pay for the insurance payment, the co-payment, I guess it would be. So that's an issue I see.
a lot of times, and I hate to say perks, but when we onboard a family into 100 families, this comes with a network of resources, and that's something that we could broker a temporary solution, until they get back to work. And so if when you all refer some of these families to us that need services, we have access to some things that they might need that would cost them less or not cost them, just because they've joined our organization. So it's a motivation for some families to onboard with us. And I know some of you all have had some training with us, and some of you are about to have some training. So as we connect to more and more of you counselors in DCFS, then I hope we can solve that problem and the transportation. Yeah. So Brandy, did you have anything to add to that at all? Okay, all right. And Karen, we have not gotten Michelle Medina or Jordan Bradley on yet. Have you checked for that? And we'll go on. So let's we're at the 30-minute mark, and I'd like to take the last 15 minutes to look at solutions that you think the community, how can we reach into the school? Because we're interested in 100 families, in how those dynamics of the family are affecting the kids at your schools. So how do we help the parents become healthier? What are ways that you're able to reach back into the families? Or is that something we could totally take on as 100 families? And how does that work to help heal the child if we're able to work with the family healing? So solutions that you see out there that may be innovative. Your Christmas list is what we'd like to hear, and we're going to write it down, and you never know. So let's see. Brandy, I'll start back with you, and Robin. I know Robin's in the room with you. She may have some things as well. We may have some other counselors on here. Melinda, any of you that want to put something in the chat box? I know there's several of you there were counselors that are on with us. If you have something to add, we want to hear from you. All right, your wish list. How can we help you? What do you need?
I would say, and it's kind of hard right now with COVID, but I'm finding with the families that I'm spending the most time with, by nature, they're a little hesitant of allowing agencies or people in because they always have that fear of we're looking for the bad, we're trying to find something wrong. I have found like just being able to spend some time with them and develop that relationship, there is more trust. They are more willing to say, hey, we don't have food, or could you help us out? Especially when they don't feel alone in that. When we're saying, hey, you are not alone in this. There are many other families struggling. We just want to help you. What do you need from us to help your kid be successful and you support your kid? And that's one area that I feel like this role has been really helpful, because even though it's all about the kids, being able to meet the needs of some of the parents has benefited the kids because it's taking the stress away from them. So providing them transportation to doctor's appointments, those kind of things. Transportation is a really big deal. We've got a couple of families right now that they actually, they are working, but they just cannot make ends meet. So just having the extra support, the people checking in on them, providing meals, transportation, insurance, like you said, that's a big deal. Some of them have, and then it just doesn't meet, they're still not able to meet the needs, financially.
So I agree with you on they're scared of agencies. They think if they admit that they've got a problem, then immediately, and Ashlyn, you've probably seen this happen some, they don't want to admit their problems because they're afraid that's going to lead to losing their children, or some kind of court action. 100 families, when we onboard a family, we are HIPAA, FERPA, COPA, every one of those privacy things. And we ask the parents, is there anyone that you do not want to see this information? And so our care team is put together around them with their permission. What are the things that you need? And if they're scared to put someone in law enforcement on there, we don't right away. If it's DCFS, we will honor their wishes, because we're there to support them totally and get them back to health. So we're not a reporting agency. We don't report unless it's as a mandated reporter of some kind of danger to a child. So that's one thing we can communicate to them in a flyer or a brochure. I can come to school with our case. I know Autumn Grant is on here. She's one of my case managers. Latoya Shepherd is on here. She's a case manager. Autumn's probably more in the Van Buren area, and Latoya is in the Alma area. And we can get to school and talk to them privately. So
most of the time when we're there and they feel the genuineness of, hey, we are here to help you, parents completely melt, and they are more receptive to that because they are overwhelmed and struggling. So I feel like several of our families are going to be very receptive to benefiting from this program.
So one of you mentioned mentors to me. And what do you see the role of a mentor with maybe a child that's behind academically or doesn't have support at home, or needs, a special birthday at school? Tell me about how you see us maybe helping put together some volunteers that would be mentors.
I have some boys, probably 4th and 5th grade boys mostly, that are in need of male role models. Some man to come forward and say, hey, come throw a football with me, or hey, this is what you do when you want to talk to a girl, or just things that a dad would normally do. Either a dad is not present, or the dad is consumed with his own things, is not necessarily helping their child. But I've got 2 boys in particular that come to mind that I think could really benefit from a positive role model. male role model on a regular basis, someone to check on them, someone to just so that they know someone's paying attention, someone cares. It's one thing coming from your school counselor, they expect me to care. But we have a man who is a recruiter for one of the armed service branches that came in and is mentoring one of our boys. He just comes by and checks on him every now and then. He brought him a backpack, that has Army on it. And he just thinks that's the coolest thing ever. And this was just through contacts here in the school. They said, oh, I've got this friend, maybe he could come by. So I think that male role models are more needed than female role models. Simply in the school setting, you have more teachers and female role models, that people that can step up and encourage girls, not as much with boys, especially in elementary.
So in the other school districts, do you see the same type of need, or do you see mentors in a different way that are needed, more for transportation or for, I know Becky, you mentioned a partnership you have with First Baptist Alma, Blessed to Bless, where you can go and get clothes. Any of the schools could do that.
That's a great opportunity for families here. And all I have to do right now, because of COVID, we don't transport our kids there, but I just call up Nancy and I say, hey, I need this, 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 and this. And I have a signed permission slip from the parents, and they just bring it to me. For my littles, I don't think we're transporting them yet either at middle school and high school, just due to COVID, but they're awesome. And I wish every community could have, because I know they don't have a lot to reach out to every school district in our county, but they would help if they could, if they need.
The kids can actually go in, and it's like set up like a store. They can actually shop and get kind of what they want. So they've got new shoes in there. So Blessed to Bless, we can give you, I know the First Baptist Church number is 632-2020. Am I right, Becky? Maybe?
I think.
And I can connect you with Vicki Lambert there. So that's a resource. So mentors. Any other feedback about how that could happen?
I was going to speak to
I also think that some of our parents, I think some of our parents need mentors. The parents need people to come alongside them and teach them how to be a parent.
Okay. Yeah, and
we had a boy that had his Chromebook taken away from his mom because he wasn't using it correctly. He was watching things he shouldn't be watching and things like that. And she took it away for the night and put it in her closet. Well, he came and got it out of the closet while she was asleep. And so, she said, what do I do? And I said, well, do you have a car? She said, yes. I said, if you don't want him to have it, put it in the trunk of your car. He can't get it there. And she said, can I do that? I said, yes, you can. You have the keys to your car. Put the keys under your pillow. Sometimes you got to get creative. And sometimes parents just need someone to bounce those ideas off of.
Yeah.
Someone who's not judging them, who's just helping them. So I think parent mentors are just as important as kid mentors.
And we have parents as teachers at, I know that was in my chat room a while ago, at Crawford County Adult Ed. And if they sign up, a lot of times we do a dual sign up. If they sign up for 100 families, we also allow them to sign up for parents as teachers. And Tiffany Parks is doing a great job with those classes. So I would say contact Adult Ed if you need some parenting classes. And let's see, Brandy, were you going to pop in on that?
Well, I was going to speak to what Amber said about the mentoring. I know at one of our schools with our remote students, because we still have several students that are remote, some are struggling, we have assigned them. We used to have high school students go over to the primary and intermediate schools and be a part of that classroom and build connections with those students. Now with parents' permission, we have allowed high school students through a class to be a mentor to some of the remote students to help them with something they're struggling with. So they do a Google Meet, but it's all through the school. Those kids are at school and that's happening. And the virtual kids are home with their parents. So
I like that.
Yeah, it's been good.
Karen, will you go ahead and highlight we've got Megan Reese and we've got Melinda McSpadden. Do I have any other counselors on, if you'll speak up? And I'd just like to get your input here at the end of this discussion, if you had anything to add or resources. Do you need, you know, prom's coming up, graduation is coming up. Do you have students that are going to need those kind of helps? And Melinda, I see you highlighted if you've got something to add, and Megan, go ahead if you've got something.
Yeah, you know, if I think the mental health care is a really big need here, not just for the poverty. I mean, it's affecting all of our babies. You know, the kids who are doing all the things, well, none of the things look like they used to last year. So they're struggling just as much as our kids who don't have the support. You know, but their parents can't afford the co-pays, or they don't have the transportation to get them to the appointments that are in Van Buren or Fort Smith. So they may have a little bit of extra support, but they don't have the resources. And then I think that was my big thing, was mental health care. It's what I had circled.
Okay.
The mentor program, absolutely, giving kids experiences they wouldn't otherwise have. I know the gaming events aren't really an option right now, but just someone else to check in on them. They just want someone to listen to them.
Yeah.
So I agree on that too.
That's good.
So, Charlotte, this is Diane.
Okay.
I joined late. I'm sorry.
Join in, yes.
When I keep hearing about these co-pays and private insurance, there is a way to check if the insurance is waiving the co-pays due to it being COVID. They have had that. So I'm not sure who's checking the insurance to see if that is an option. Maybe Diane
Bynum is with Lumina, which is an agency that's one of our partners. And Diane, if you'd like to put your information in the chat box so that they can maybe run some questions by you. You're such an expert at that. So, but go ahead, Diane, and address that.
So that has been a way that some who couldn't have, you know, got laid off or whatever. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, if it's coming from agencies that you're already working with that maybe hasn't checked for that for your families. There's also a way to do a payment plan on the co-pays. You just have to be able to bill it. You can't write it off, but you can say, hey, I will bill you that at $5 a month or something like that. And so that may be I'm sorry, I don't know which counselor just finished talking at which school, but there's ways to handle those co-pays, and I will put my information in if you want to call and discuss it a little more.
Diane's a great resource. So
hey, Charlotte, this is Marla.
Oh, okay. I don't
Hey.
see you highlighted. What's your full name? Give it so Karen can get you on.
Oh, it's Marla Kendrick, Charlotte, from the Guidance
Okay.
Center.
Yay, yay. Speak up.
So as I'm listening, if any of you guys are getting services from the Guidance Center, if the clients are getting them into the school, they should not ever be charged a bill or a copay or anything if they have private insurance. So I'm not sure who all was talking about that, but if we're serving in your school, they should not be getting bills. Now, if they come to our clinic for medical, they might get a bill for that, but otherwise they should not be.
Okay, so that's Marla Kendrick at the Guidance Center. And do you have maybe a contact or put something in the chat?
Sure, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
I know we serve most of the schools. I know, Becky, we don't serve Mountainburg. Megan, where are you at? I didn't hear where you were from.
I'm at Alma High School.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and Katie's there now.
Yes, she is.
Your kiddos should all be taken care of.
They are, but the private insurance has been a question, so I will definitely follow up with you on that.
Yeah, we won't. Right, there should not be any payment at all been sent out to those parents.
Awesome, thank you.
So you've got two good resources in the counseling field now. You've got Diane Bynum with Lumina, and you've got Marla Kendrick at Western Arkansas Guidance. And They are both partners of ours within the 100 families, and they're just partners in the community. I mean, they're serving the communities, but again, that becomes a resource when you onboard a family with 100 families. We automatically connect them, and we can troubleshoot all, you know, a lot of these problems that you guys are speaking to. So we need referrals from you, and then we have developed a new system to keep up with the ages and what schools all of our kids are in, so that we can notify you all and put you on a care team when we get a child onboarded through a family. So we're going to step that up so that you know who we're working with in the future. So Melinda, do you have a couple of minutes? We're right at the break point here. I'm limiting you because I know you can talk all day. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. There you go.
Sorry about that. You want me to talk about success cases now?
No, we're going to do that after we finish with the counseling. But
Okay, I don't have anything else to add to that part of it.
okay, come back. She'll come back on in a minute, and she's going to tell about some of the successes that we've had. Okay, anybody that's on that has some information that could help the school counselors and be a resource, speak now or put it in the chat box. I've seen lots of great information coming through the chat box, so I hope that you'll all have time to go back there and pick up those resources. Okay, here we go. Jeannie Carroll from the Fort Smith. You'll have to tell me exactly what you're doing there, but we've talked before, so.
Yes, my name's Jeannie Carroll. I am with the Fort Smith Public Schools, and I serve as the district homeless liaison. Our program is called Families in Transition, and Brandy Brogan does the same as I do in Alma. Steve Davis does the same as I do in Van Buren.
Okay.
And I know this is Crawford County, but Karen Phillips and I were talking because we're both on the Sebastian County. And since I am connected with Latoya Shepherd on here, there's a lot of people on here I'm connected with. I just wanted to, I asked her if I could join. So I hope you don't mind.
Oh.
But I just wanted to, you know, let y'all know why I was here. And, you know, we do coordinate a lot with Crawford County, Sebastian County, Fort Smith Public Schools, and myself. I keep in touch with Brandy Brogan whenever I have a family go to her district, or they come to my district because if they're experiencing homelessness, you know, they have rights that other students don't have, just like foster children do. And so we have to work together. Like if she has a student comes here to me, we have to work together on transportation if they want to stay at Alma schools, and if it's in their best interest. So there's a lot of things that I collaborate with these other school districts with. Also, I'll have a family that will move to Van Buren, and so I have connected them with parents as teachers over there, because I am also a parent educator for parents as teachers here. And I work strictly with the homeless. But anyways, if anybody ever needs my assistance, I will put my contact information in the chat. You know, because there are agencies like Karen, you know, can tell you, there are a lot of agencies here in Fort Smith that if you don't know about, I can tell you about, connect you, you know, with like, you know, CACDC helps more than just Sebastian County and so forth. So Crawford Sebastian Community Development Council. So anyways, like I said, my name's Jeannie Carroll, and I'm with the Fort Smith Public Schools.
Thank you, Jeannie, for adding that. So if no one else has anything, we're gonna close down our panel. And if you have some extra things or questions, please put it in the chat room, and we can still connect you to resources. But I'm going to have Karen Phillips come on and show you the data that of the work that has been done in Crawford County over the last couple of months to help families, how many families and all that. So Karen, if you'll jump to that. And thank you to everybody that contributed.
Can everyone see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay. So since we launched just about 5 months ago, it was last October, these are the collaborative partners that signed on. If you, we know we have more and more partners always being joining. And so we want to continue to grow the list of partners, but you can see it's, we have a number of community partners in Crawford County. It's, Crawford County has been such a great place to have an alliance because you're so eager to help. As of January 31st, these are our numbers. We had 111 families that have been served to date with 277 children. And right now there are 88 active families with 220 children. And you can also see, let me see here. These are our the information. I keep having to move these boxes so that I can see what I'm presenting. Okay. The primary provider, a lot of our clients come through the Crawford County Adult Ed. So right now, if you could see where I'm sitting and where Charlotte is sitting, we're sitting in the old City Heights Elementary School, and now the district court offices, but also soon to be the Crawford County Adult Ed, and hopefully a resource center here very, very soon, which just makes sense because adult ed provides so many resources to the community, and with 100 families and the other nonprofits that will be up here, it's going to be a great one-stop in the future. So we're very excited about that. And you can see that the primary providers are the Western Arkansas Child Development Center provides case management to families. Restore Hope does, some other nonprofits, the Resource Center, and the Adult Ed. Child welfare case types. So you can see about 50% of the families, 56 actually, do not have a DCFS case. So those are prevention. So the majority of those are families that have their children with them, but that are in home, but they just are facing several crisis areas. And so we want to serve them and help them to not have to have, a DCFS case. If we can, eliminate that crisis, we want to do that for them. And then some of those are protective supportive type cases where the children are in the home, but they do have a DCFS case. We do have some families in Crawford County that their children are in foster care. And so we're servicing those parents and helping them reunite with their children. And you can see that 12% of our cases, we've already helped them reunite. So that's so exciting when we help that happen. And so those parents are reunited with their children, but we continue, these are open cases, so we continue to work with those families even after their DCFS case is closed. You can see the referral types. We get district court, adult ed, community members, DCFS, and we want to continue to grow how we get families into the initiative. So this is always the super exciting part because Crawford County has the best outcomes in the state of Arkansas right now. I do these for every single county and I report every month.
There we go.
So I'm very aware of, of how well everyone's doing. And look at that. This is the crisis to thriving scale. We do this, at intake in 13 different assessment areas. This is just 7 of them. And then we update that every single month. And by we, I mean the community. I mean the point of contact providers, those primary providers. And so the 1 is that bright red, it's crisis. The 2s is that kind of maroon color, and it's at risk or connected to resources. The purple is stabilized, and then the dark navy is thriving. And so you can see from at intake to as of January 31st, the last time I updated this information, pulled the data, was we have had significant improvement in the area of employment, for an example. So you can see 3 out of 4 families, when they came in and became a 100 Families client, they had no income from any source. So this is amazing. That has gone down to only 1 out of 3. And you can see that the number of families that are stabilized, the number of the families with thriving income have gone up, and even those at risk connected to resources, that means in the area of employment that they have some sort of income. They've got part-time employment or something. And so we are able to make a significant impact in that area, and we cannot stabilize families if they don't have income. I mean, this is such an important piece. There's lots of things that are important, but that is very, very important. Housing is another area. We're able to move people out of crisis. You can see that crisis go down, the stability goes up. We still have work to do in this area. You can see that majority of our clients are still in maybe not crisis, so they're not homeless, but they're in either substandard housing or housing that is unaffordable to them. So that's why you can see them in that 2, 3 at risk category. You can see food is another way we can immediately stabilize families. It's shocking to us how many families come in and don't have food stamps, for example, and so that qualify for them. So we are able to, of course, with pandemic food stamps, every family that is on food stamps gets the maximum allowed to them. So that's really important that they get on, even if it used to be like, oh, I would only get $30 a month, and so it wasn't worth my time. It is worth their time. If they qualify for food stamps, period, right now, they get maximum. So for their family size. So it's a big, big improvement when they access that resource. And you can see all the other areas as well. Education, legal. One thing I want to point out in education that I saw was interesting is that only at outcome, only 1% of our active families are not pursuing education. So that 2s and 3s mean in education means that they are connected to resources. They're attending classes is what that means. So the ones that do not have their GED, which in this case is about 31%, or high school diploma, they are pursuing it. So only 1% is not pursuing it. So I'm so excited to say that they are pursuing either their GED or some sort of educational help through the Literacy Council or through a certification. So that partnership with literacy councils and adult eds have been so important in this. So just a little highlight, food stability increased for 27% of our families. So 27% of our families moved from a crisis/food insecure situation to stable or thriving. And employment crisis decreased for 42% of our families. So 42% of our families moved from no income, unemployed, to receiving an income of some sort. So that's very exciting information. And this is just a little bit about the model, the contact, connection, career. This is the model for 100 families. It's how we deal with the individuals through this model, but also how we set up committees. And so I think that this will lead us directly into what Charlotte has for us next.
Okay. Karen is such a great resource. She's my boss. She laughs at that every time I say that, but really she's my boss. And she does all this data crunching and manages the grants and finances. So she's pretty incredible. And she knows all the resources because she did this in Sebastian for a while. So the next thing I want to do is I want Debbie Falbus. Are you still on here? Do you see Debbie? Has she jumped off? She's been on, oh, she's in court. Somebody said she's in court. I was gonna talk to you about the resource center that we're putting up here at the courts. But just in general, what you need to know is that what we want to do is put up a one-stop for families that can come up here They can sign up for food stamps, for or SNAP, parents as teachers, adult ed, counseling. If they are needing a job, we want to have the employment agency over here, workforce. If they're involved in drug court or in parole or probation, we want to get, we're having a meeting with them to bring them over here as well. So all of our people in Crawford County don't have to always be, there's my Crawford County adult ed folks. Tiffany, who's on my left, is my parents as teachers coordinator, and she wants all your families that she can enroll.
Please.
And Autumn is my, she's a career counselor, and also she's a case manager, and she signs them up, and she's one of the ones that's so responsible for our high education numbers. So they're going to be involved in the one stop as well. And I'm going to come back to them, and Melinda and Latoya and Noah, if he's on in a minute, to let them tell us a great success story that they have. So, but the one stop is in the works. It's going to be amazing for families to come up. We hope at some point we will have childcare here and transportation. So, and then they can receive, we'll have a food closet. It's just going to be everything we can think of under one roof. So if churches want to get involved, of course, we need that faith-based connection as well to their resources. Now, what we want to do is hear from Karen. If you can highlight Melinda and Autumn, need you back on, and Tiffany may have a story. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Noah is on, and then we need Latoya. Okay, there we go. There's Noah. And Latoya was on earlier, but she had a training I think she had to jump off for. So if Latoya, if you're—
I'm still here.
Oh, you're here. Okay, we're going to highlight you. Karen's looking for you. My question to you guys, and I'll just start in my left and go around the circle, is just really briefly, because we're at the 11 o'clock mark and I want to honor people's time. Tell us how 100 Families is working for you and what you see in the community with the cases that you're involved in. Just give us a little bit of an encouragement that some good things are happening. I'll start with Autumn, who works at Adult Ed.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just see it all the time, especially working with our Crawford County families. Just we get them where they don't have any kind of education. They are struggling financially with food, money. So we're able to get them signed up with 100 families and work with our community resources to help them with food, get them signed up for food stamps, employment, classes to take for GED. We had a girl come she was running from a abusive ex from Missouri. And so she came down here, didn't have a GED. She was able to complete her GED here at Crawford County. We were able to get her an apartment in Mulberry. Her kids were in childcare, and she completed, and she's thriving and she's doing great. So we're really grateful for 100 Families.
And that's just one of many that Autumn could share with you. And every family's different, what they need and the resources that we can connect them to. Melinda, you're next in that top box. So some of the things you're doing are unique in Alma. So let's hear a little summary.
Well, in Alma and Van Buren, let me kind of talk about just 3 quick cases that we've been involved with that truthfully might make me cry. So y'all just have to deal with that. But one of them is a lady that was living with 2 children in a rescue mission local rescue mission. And on March the 11th, she is going to be stably housed, and her 2 children in child care so that she can get a job. And so we're looking for furniture now to house her situation. And so you'll be hearing maybe from me about that later. The next one is a young lady that I met on November the 10th through 100 Families, and 3 children, a 12-year-old, 6, and a 3. She was in the process of moving into a mobile home on our family's property. And from that time until Thanksgiving, she really became dissected from her family, and they would not allow her to move into that mobile home. So that was a little bit scary there for a minute, but she is now stably housed. She was without a vehicle because she was driving a family's vehicle that she also lost. And so now she has a vehicle. She now has a job, and she'll be starting really quickly with Autumn's group and Debbie's group there at Adult Ed to get her GED. So we're excited about that happening probably starting on Monday or Tuesday of next week. But the one that I want to highlight the most is a young lady that I met through another person who was in a rescue mission, gave her our name because she needed childcare. She is from Michigan. She's lived in, during her lifetime, she's lived in 14 foster care homes. She was adopted out of foster care on 2 different occasions, but essentially has been homeless since she was 16. She was in a Facebook gaming group and met someone from Arkansas, ended up taking a bus to Little Rock, has lived in the Little Rock area for a bit of time. And I met her because she knew a former shelter, a lady who was in a shelter with her previously in her life. And so I reached out to her. She was in Russellville in a shelter at that time. I went to Russellville, picked her and her 3-year-old up, put her in a hotel in Alma for a bit of time. She moved into a shelter. She's now stably housed, and a lot of people on this group gave furniture and money to help us house this young lady and her 3-year-old. About a month after she moved in, she had not fully unpacked her 10 trash bags of all of her belongings that we moved into her home for her, and that she had carried from shelter to shelter. And I said, okay, what do we need to do? Let's go ahead and unpack these and whatever. And she said, I'm afraid to unpack my things because every time I would get someplace and unpack, I would have to move. Sorry. And so I assured her that she was not going to go anywhere, that she was one of ours, and we were going to take care of her. And so she has just this past week passed a lot of her GED training. There's Autumn right there. And I think she's testing actually again today in a different area. We feel very certain she's going to get her GED quickly. And the first thing she told me when I picked her up from Adult Ed, I want you to be at my ceremony. They have a graduation. Would you be there? And so we may just have to Zoom that for you people to see this young lady who has been traveling on her own. And now she's in Crawford County, and Crawford County is taking care of her. And so you just got to understand how important this is. And I know you all do. But it's also really easy. And so don't think that 100 Families and Restore Hope is a hard thing. It is going to completely liberate so many families in Crawford County, which is going to help school counselors. And I'm just so convinced of that it's going to be a lifeline for you guys to be able to do the things you need to do while other people help you take care of the things that you might not have access to. And so just know it works. It's working in Crawford County. You just saw the data. So it is definitely working. Charlotte, that's the shortest I've ever spoken.
I was timing her, but it doesn't do me any good. So Latoya works with Melinda, and I don't know if you have a different take on some of the families you have worked with. And then I need to hit Noah and Tiffany, and we need to make it short and concise.
Okay. Yeah, Melinda highlighted one of the families that I was going to talk about, her second one. But I have a great partnership with Noah because Noah is great at what he does. And so I've been able to service some families helping Noah. One in particular, I dropped off some things yesterday with a particular family. And just so you know, this collaboration between the case managers and all of those in Crawford County, it's great. This person is in Sebastian County, but this was a woman who has never been able to buy her own female undergarments. And she reached out and said to Noah she needed some things. Noah reached out to me. So just to see the look on this female person's face to hand her what we take for granted, bras and panties, frankly speaking, that's a result of the partnership between 100 families and the case managers. And then at least two of the people and one other that I know of that has had gainful employment, it's because people like Melinda McSpadden and Noah get together. And some of these people have been able to be employed through some of the partnerships that are on the line now. And the pro bono childcare that is being offered. One young lady, she got pro bono childcare from WACD. And then she was in a job. She was able to keep that job. That job was not what she needed. Now she works for WACD and is about to be stably housed. So the partnerships are absolutely phenomenal when we work together. And so that communication is essential.
I love hearing about this, and and no, I'm about to holler at you, but I know there are hundreds of more families out there. And we have got to find a way to connect to them and get them enrolled. So those of you on the Zoom today are important contact out in the community, and we need to reach out to everybody to bring these families in so these awesome people that you see on the screen right now can work their magic. So Noah, tell us some encouragement that you've had with your families.
Yeah, so I'll just talk kind of briefly a little bit about one of my favorite clients who I actually spoke with yesterday. Whenever she first set up an appointment to get enrolled in the 100 Families program, her husband had recently been laid off due to COVID. So they had fallen behind on their utility bills, their rent. And we're really struggling financially, to try to get back to where they were when her husband was employed. So one of the first things we did was reach out to United Way, who had the temporary COVID utility funding, the utility assistance funding, and she was able to help get her utility bills taken care of there. And then we were able to help her apply for one of the rental assistance programs through the CSCDC. And they were able to help her take care of all her rent that she owed because she had recently received an eviction notice. So they were able to help her take care of that. And then at that same time, she was also approved for HUD. But she had to, I guess her house had bed bugs pretty bad. And before HUD would come out and inspect her house, she had to get the bed bugs taken care of. So I know you, Charlotte, and Karen were big in helping facilitate that process to help her get the bed bugs taken care of. And she actually has an appointment for HUD to come out and inspect her house. I think next week. So they're going to come out and inspect her house, and she's just been great and really appreciates all the help that we've, been trying to, help her out with, and just the emotional support too, just having somebody there to, who understands what they're going through, and, somebody to talk with them on a consistent basis. And so she's been great.
So those of you that are still on the Zoom, understand that there's just not one connection point that we make. You can hear all of the different resources, just unique, pest control, people that want to donate some, a spray, people in the car industry want to help us, maybe fix cars. We have construction people that have gone in and fixed fireplaces or lighting in homes that are dangerous, put floors in, repaired ceilings. So this is not normal community connections through just agencies. These are connecting people in the community that love to be able to give back. Maybe they've been in this place at one point in their lives as well. So Tiffany, I'll end with you and any of your families that maybe you've gotten through 100 families that the parents as teachers has been able to see some success with.
Yeah, there's definitely been a couple, but one in particular, she's 17, she's pregnant, and by signing up with 100 families, Autumn was able to give me her information, and we've gotten her enrolled into GED classes. We've been working, trying to get her a ride here. That's been the biggest thing, but between Annie and Ms. Bobbis and all of us, we've been able to get her here, to get her started on her classes, to try to get her to get through her GED. And we're hoping we can get her through before May, before she has the baby. But she seems very excited. And she, she's excited to have the help. She's excited to have the parenting part of this help because she's young and she's lived, she doesn't have a lot of support. So that was one of them that Autumn has sent me through this. And so it's a big circle. Everybody has to help everybody.
It is. So if, I know we've 11:30 is my cutoff, but I know some of you probably had to come in and out and do other things, but anyone that's on this Zoom or anyone you know of that would be a good fit, please let us know if they have resources that you think that they could add to this huge puzzle. And if anyone needs training, I know I've heard from DCFS this morning, and they've sent me all of their caseworkers that are going to be trained that have not already been trained. We have people in the police department that are, our families can go up and just ask for food, and they have food baskets at Van Buren. So lots of resources that we have through 100 families that are can come alongside you guys as counselors or just members of the communities, the churches, CASA, whatever is, needing resources for families. And we would love to be able to start connecting all the dots with you. But the training is a big piece because it really helps you understand what we do and how to do it. And the data that we can collect for your agency, if you join us, is great for using for writing grants or showing your progress as a provider. So our data is available to those of us that partner with us. So please let me know if you'd like to join our trainings. They're free. And is anyone, Karen, do you have anything that I have left out today? It's been a great meeting.
Well, just real quick, I just wanted to say Kim Black is on.
Oh, okay.
They have moved their resource center over into the City Heights complex as well. So I don't know if she wanted to say anything about that, but those classes that she's always taught, domestic violence, And some others are now going to be taught over here. So it's exciting.
Highlight Kim if she's still on, and I'd like to put a face with what this is about to be. It's unique. There's Kim Black. She
I haven't been able to figure out how to unmute myself, and I just finally figured it out.
So
I was going to come on a while ago when you were talking about the resource center, but I kept pushing the button and I could not get myself to unmute. So, yeah, we moved yesterday from our old location at Western Arkansas Counseling Guidance into our future home at the district court complex and adult education facility that is to be at what used to be City Heights Elementary School. We're very, very, very excited about the future. We are in transition, so our services are limited at this moment, except that NOAA continues to work out of the resource center for the 100 families, providing the case management services. I am still doing some domestic violence services, and we will be back providing the other services that we were providing as soon as we can get completely moved in and organized and get everything kind of back under our feet, back under us.
Yeah, it's gonna be unique. What we're doing in Crawford County is the most innovative things, and I'm going to say in the state, and I know it's in the state, but in a course I'm taking on pretrial justice, no one is doing this around the nation. They don't even understand it when I talk about it because it's so far advanced of what people are even envisioning can be done. So those of you joining us on this journey, you are on the cusp of groundbreaking work that is being done to bring families out of crisis into stability and to make our community stronger. So Kim's going to be a big part of that as she brings resources in to the center, and she'll be letting us know when she's ready to host a one-stop, and we'll get people to her. So we found that one of the—
Can I say one last thing, Charlotte?
Go ahead.
Because all the counselors are on, I wanted to also say, I heard you talking about the need for support for your parents. And one of the services that we offered and that we will be offering again in the future is a parenting class that is not strictly education, but more support. We call it a parenting education support group. And basically, instead of having a specific curriculum that we cover every week like a normal parenting class, what we do is we take the questions from the parents from the issues that they're having, and we address and work on those specific issues each week when we meet. And it's a voluntary thing, so they don't have to come every week. They can come whenever they want to come. They can come every week if they want to. So I'll let you guys know when we get that going again. Hopefully it will be a month or so, not much more.
That's amazing. She's going to have a great place out in the all-purpose building behind the City Heights. It's a beautiful location. So, Karen, do you have anything else we have missed? And
Nope.
We'll end with 3 minutes to go. Okay.
Charlotte, this is Mayor Baxter. Can I say one thing? Real quick. This week, we served 248 families in Mulberry through our Mulberry Community Food Pantry. That equates to about 750 individuals. No one in Crawford County should go without food. We have food, and I just wanted to mention that our food pantry, like I say, just this week, 248 families. And
what are the days that you're open?
Normally, it's on Tuesday, but it's we have to post it because we don't know when the food comes in. But Susie Ferguson is our coordinator, and she's doing a fantastic job. She'll make sure anyone in Crawford County has food.
I think you have a Facebook, or you have a community
She has a Facebook page.
where
Facebook-
you announce when they're open?
Yes, on the Facebook page, Mulberry Community Food Pantry that's the Facebook page, and it's on there when it's opening.
That's amazing.
It's just a drive-through. People just drive through. They'll put the things in their vehicle and they drive on out. Just really quick, fast, and it's effective.
Okay. We're going to put that in the chat box. I'm
Okay.
sure Karen's probably going to be all over that in just a second. So,
Thank you.
okay, guys, tremendous effort, and we have lots of work left to do. So let me know when I can help. Thanks to everybody, and we're going to sign off. Thank you.